In this video, we're going to talk about color theory, what it is, how to use it, and why it works.
Hi y'all, I'm Drake and this is Drake Makes Art. I love color. I think it's one of the most important tools in an artist's toolbox, and if it's done right, I think it has the most power to draw a viewer into an image and transport them to another world. I mean, who doesn't remember the first time they saw Dorothy open the door to Oz, right? So let's dive in.
Hundreds of years ago, the colors available to artists were limited to what they could derive from nature through the pigments available from plants and the soil. But these pigments didn't necessarily cover the range of colors an artist might want to use. Color theory originally developed as a method for artists to think about color mixing, so that they could use the pigments at their disposal to create the widest range of colors possible. The foundation of any color theory is the primary colors. These are the colors that will be used to mix all the other colors, and cannot be made by mixing other colors. The range of colors that can be created by any given set of primaries is called a color space. In modern color theory, there are three main color spaces, each derived from a different set of primaries. They all serve different purposes and are useful in different situations. Let's start with the one most of us have probably seen before, the red, yellow, blue, or RYB color space. This is the one most of us learn about in primary school and are probably the most familiar with. As the name implies, the primary colors of this color space are red, yellow, and blue. Mixing these primaries together creates the secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. And if we mix these secondaries with the primaries again, we get our tertiary or intermediate colors. Notice how I've situated these colors around a circle? This diagram is called a color wheel, and it's a great tool to use when deciding what colors to use in your images. We can divide the color wheel into two halves, with the color range from red to yellow on one side and the range from green to purple on the other. The red to yellow range is called the warm colors, reminiscent of firelight and sunburn. The green to purple range is called the cool colors, reminiscent of water and shady forests. Colors that are directly opposite each other on the color wheel are called complementary colors, and pairing them together makes both colors pop, so you'll often see complementary colors used in logo designs and billboards to grab viewers' attention. Similarly, pairing a color with the colors on either side of its direct complement will create a split complementary color palette. And if you do this with both sides of the circle, you create a double complementary palette. Colors that are right next to each other are called analogous, and you can use an analogous color palette to move from one color to its complement if you don't want the strong contrast of a straight complementary pair. RYB was the primary color space artists used for hundreds of years, but then developments in technology and medicine revealed that, actually, there's a better way to do it. Our eyes perceive light through the use of specialized cells called cones. There are three kinds of cones, and each kind is responsible for perceiving certain wavelengths of light. Based on this knowledge, two new color spaces were developed, the red, green, blue, or RGB color space, and the cyan, magenta, yellow, or CMY color space. These color spaces are connected because they are inverses of each other, and mixing the primaries of one color space will give you the primaries of the other. Now, you might be wondering how this works, because the whole point of primary colors is that they can't be made by mixing other colors. The key to this lies in the fact that these color spaces are used for different applications. RGB is an additive color space, which means that it's used for mixing light directly. It's the color space used by lighting designers, and mixing all three primaries will give you white light. CMY, on the other hand, is a subtractive color space, which means that it creates color by absorbing light. It's the color space used for printing and other non-digital art media, and if you mix all three primaries of this color space, you get black, because all the light is being absorbed and none of it is being bounced to your eyes. The same principles we discussed earlier about warm colors, cool colors, complementary colors, and color palettes also apply to these color spaces.
Hopefully you've learned something about the nature of color spaces and how to apply color principles to your images. If you combine these color principles with the principles from my video on composition, you'll be well on your way to crafting impactful images that will draw your viewers in. However, this isn't everything you need to know about color. Color is ultimately a function of light, so be sure to subscribe so that you can catch my video on light when it comes out in the coming weeks. That'll be the next video in this series on the fundamentals of visual art. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we make something new. Bye.